Hey guys, welcome back to the Espresso Outlet YouTube channel, and today we're going to unbox the Breville Dual Boiler, the BDB, the king of Breville. You can say that. So a lot of people, they really like the Breville Dual Boiler. It's a fantastic machine. We're gonna do an unboxing on it today. This will be my fourth Breville unboxing. This is the last one that I'll be doing for a little while, but don't fret, we have Dylan. He's gonna be unboxing some of the other Breville products. So make sure to check back if I haven't unboxed the machine that you wanna look at quite yet. But to get going, let's just get this box set off to the side and take a look at the accessories. Okay, so when you open up the top of your Breville Dual Boiler, you'll see the foam insert, and it has nice little cutouts for all of these accessories that I've pulled out. We're gonna just take a quick look at everything that came with the Breville Dual Boiler. So let's start with, you have an instruction manual. This is really going to be more of a getting started guide. So if this is your first espresso machine, you may have a few questions on how to get it set up, water quality, and so on. So this will help you get going, but do know that there is quite a bit more information online. Okay, so let's look at some of the other accessories that came with it. We have our milk pitcher box right here. And usually they tuck some things into the milk pitcher. So we have our nice high quality stainless steel milk pitcher. It does a fantastic job of steaming your milk. It's a thick, heavy stainless steel, so you're not gonna need to buy a new one right away if you don't want to. Inside the cup, it does come with a few more accessories. So let's take a closer look. It has a descale packet. So this is gonna be something that you're just gonna wanna put in a drawer. If you're using a good quality softened water, you may never need to use this, but when your machine is asking you to descale, you'll come looking for this packet. So make sure to have that handy and replace it after you use it. Next, we have some detergent tablets, and I'll show you a little bit more how to use these in a minute. But when you backflush your machine, most days you're gonna backflush this with like normal hot water, the water that the machine makes. But in the instance that you want to do a more in-depth cleaning, it does come with 2 detergent tablets that you can use to backflush your machine. Next, it has an Allen key just for some basic maintenance. And in the middle, it has one of these little punches, and it's just kind of a pointy metal point, and what this is used for is to unclog the steam tip if you were to have some sort of milk get clogged up into the holes on your steam wand. So something that you're going to want to put in your little accessory pile. And last, we have a silicone backflush blind. This blind is actually going to fit inside your portafilter, and when you put it into the machine, it'll create enough pressure on top but not go through your portafilter. When you turn the machine back off, it will go back through your 3-way valve and clean the inside of your machine. I mentioned these cleaning detergent tablets a bit ago. If for whatever reason it's just really gunked up in there, you may end up needing to use one of these, but I don't recommend using them too often. Just know that it comes with all these cleaning accessories. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is the included 58mm tamper. Now this tamper, it does have a nice design. We'll show you in a little bit. It does have a nice storage feature, so you can keep it and you'll never be losing your tamper. This is something, it does a good job of tamping, but this is probably the #1 thing that I see a lot of people want to upgrade. So just know if you do upgrade, it's probably not going to store in the machine the same way as this one, but it's really not that big of a deal, and it does come with it, so it's a turnkey machine. The next thing that we're going to look at is the portafilter. Now the portafilter that comes with the Breville Dual Boiler is a 58mm portafilter. And that may be a little bit different from what you see on many of the Brevilles that are out there. A lot of the Breville machines, they use a 54mm portafilter. And for a long time that was kind of a pain because it was hard to find aftermarket tampers and distribution tools and things that fit your 54mm portafilter on some of these other machines. So the 58 was very desirable, but now as Breville has evolved and the aftermarket has grown just tremendously, you can get accessories for either size. Now 58 does seem to be more of the industry standard. I'm not gonna say it's better or worse than the 54, but know that it does come with the 58mm. So if you're looking to buy an aftermarket, maybe bottomless portafilter, this one does take 58mm. So continuing on through the accessories, Breville does include 4 portafilter baskets. Now you're not gonna probably use all of these baskets, and I actually encourage you to learn how to use the non-pressurized ones, especially with the Breville Dual Boiler, as you're going to get a lot better espresso quality out of it. But to just go through these real quick, these are non-pressurized. Off to this side, there is a single and a double shot basket, as well as pressurized portafilters. So what's the difference between these two? Both of these are a double shot basket. But you can see on the bottom, this has hundreds of holes, and if you look really close, this one just has one single hole. So if you don't have an ideal grind size, this is kind of a crutch. It'll help you pull a halfway decent espresso shot if you don't have a good grinder handy, or quite yet. Maybe you haven't purchased one quite yet. I do recommend using the double shot single wall basket. It's going to make a lot better espresso shot over time. So to install, you just place it in the top like so. And one thing that I've been really happy to see Breville doing, and a lot more manufacturers doing, is using baskets that are not ridged. And what is a ridge versus a non-ridge? Well, it's just kind of a little dimpled ring on the inside, but it makes pulling these baskets out very difficult when there's that ridge, because there's a spring to retain it. So the ridgeless basket, it usually makes less mess when you tamp. You won't get coffee grounds stuck in that ridge, and it's just really easy to swap out baskets. If you've watched any of my other unboxings, you'll see that I've talked about the razor. It is a product from Breville that comes with your machine. It's kind of just a leveling tool and dosing tool. I don't really recommend using it, but it is included with your espresso machine. So the last kind of comes in one box. It comes in this sleeve, and it is your water filtration system. And this does use a different water filter than some of the smaller Breville machines. So this is a larger cartridge style filter. They're really not that expensive. You can get them online, but it has a cartridge filter as well as a holder. And in the top of your machine, there is a dial to tell you when you changed your filter last, so that you're not kind of guessing, like, when did I change this? Was it 3 months ago or 4 months ago? As long as you keep track, it'll all be there. And tucked in is a water hardness. So I mentioned earlier in this video, water hardness is very important. If you have very hard water, you will ruin your machine. And if it's above probably 50 parts per million, you're gonna need to get conditioned water. So it does come with this test strip. Make sure to test it before you fire up your machine, and use softened water. Now I do wanna note, if you're using something like a distilled water, that's going to be too pure. Your machine, it's not going to see the water in it, and it's not gonna give you very good tasting espresso. So again, use some sort of a remineralized water made specifically for espresso machines. So let's get all this put up. We're gonna pull out the Breville Dual Boiler and take a first look at it. Okay, so here's the first look at this Breville Dual Boiler. It does come with all sorts of tape holding various drip trays down and some protective film. We're gonna get that cleaned up and we'll be right back. Okay, so here's our first up close look of the Breville Dual Boiler. I think the main thing that stands out to me is it doesn't have that integrated coffee grinder at the top, which I personally prefer, but it does look a little bit different. It is just a very attractive overall machine with nice styling. We'll just go through a couple of the features real quick. On this side, you have a hot water. So this knob turns your hot water on and off. Next, we have our power button, as well as some menu items and up-down buttons and an exit. So this is just kind of like our user interface type screen. This is the first time that we've turned this on. We don't have water in it yet. So it's asking for the water hardness. We'll do a setup video or something on that later. It does have an indication light for when it needs water or when the steam is on, as well as a bar gauge. And what I like about this bar gauge is it's a more traditional bar gauge compared to some of the other Brevilles. Some of the other Brevilles, they have a zone, it's the espresso zone, and it doesn't really give the true bars that's on your espresso puck. So this goes from 0 to 13 bars, which I find a really nice thing. Next, we have a variety of buttons. The first one is manual, and the manual is just basically on off. So when we turn it on, it's going to turn on the pump. When we click it again, it's going to turn off. And then you'll notice that there are two. One is a single cup and one is a double cup. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a single and a double, but it is two pre-programmed times, and you are able to change these times. So they could both be a double shot, for example, but one runs a little bit slower. So you have two options for your pre-programmed timed shots. And then off to the far right, we have our steam lever. So up is open, down is closed, but you're also able to have like in the middle for just a little bit of steam versus the fully open. So you have the ability to control it much easier. I feel like it is a lot better design than some of the other ones that have that springy feedback. So you can flip it up and leave it on. And I find that to be a nice feature. So on many espresso machines, it's kind of difficult to fill up the water tank. Sometimes they hide it behind the drip tray, sometimes they hide it at the back of the machine, and it's really difficult to get a water pitcher or something into there. So what Breville has done is they actually have this pop-up door on the top, and you're able to pour water in through the top. Now if you're looking, you don't really notice where the water tank is. You can see your water tank level indication. There's a small LED, and you can see how full the tank is, but how do you get to the tank to fill it and clean it? Well, in the back of the machine, it comes out like so. And it comes out, it's really easy, but this is just for changing your water filter. These do get a little bit slimy from time to time, so you're not going to really need to access this very often. So something that I've really liked about these larger Breville machines is you can access that rear water reservoir very easily. So start by removing your drip tray. And you'll notice in the front, there's this small knob and it's in the lock position right now. So when we rotate it to the unlocked position, that allows us to roll the machine around. There's actually a small caster, and at the back of the machine, there's two small wheels. So we can rotate it around like so and gain access to our water tank. Makes it changing out your water filter or scrubbing down your tank very easily. When you are done, you can just simply put it back in, lock it into place, spin your machine back around, and turn the wheel back to the lock position. So it makes it nice and sturdy. My table's a little wobbly, but I mean, it's not scooting around on you. I don't want to make this video too long, but there is a nice tool storage area so you can put your brushes, spare portafilter baskets, and just anything else in here. I don't really recommend putting your cleaning tablets in here as they're probably going to get a little bit of moisture, but it is really nice to have all those spare tools off to the side. To reinstall our drip tray, to slide it in like so. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of water in just so that you can see the water level indication. As I mentioned before, we have this door on the top, so it's in the open position. And as we start to fill, you should be able to see the water. And since this is the first time that we've used this machine, it is a dual boiler machine, and it's going to take quite a bit of water to prime these boilers and the lines. So don't be surprised if it goes through most of a tank and then you need to refill it one more time. So now that we have our water tank filled up and our machine is primed, it's going to run for quite a while. Don't be surprised if it just sits there and hums for quite a while as it fills up that boiler and all of those lines. But as it's preheating, make sure to insert your portafilter, as it's going to make sure that your portafilter is nice and hot when you're ready to use this machine. Last but not least, I did mention that we have this tamper, and underneath the power button there's a hole to store it. So that's just really nice. It's easy to grab and tamp and put away. You're never gonna have to look for it. Okay, so I think this pretty much concludes the unboxing of this Breville Dual Boiler, but I ask you, please make sure to check back because we're going to be doing more specifics on this machine and even comparing it against some other products. So if you have any questions, make sure to drop that in the comments below and check back for upcoming future videos. But for today, thank you for watching.